We've got another question, a persistent questioner here. So Richard asks, following on from his previous reply about his portfolio building, he wants to be a vehicle artist within the industry, and he knows that a few companies make racing games, but what does he need to do to make himself more employable? And I think he's talking about more employable within driving studio.
What I would, my advice to Richard would be to research what those individual studios do, the type of driving games, the type of racing games, the type of vehicle games that those studios do, and then construct vehicles of the same type, but go beyond what they're currently doing. So add something to what they're doing, but don't stray too far from. So it's focused at them, but show potential, show creativity, and show commitment at the way that his portfolio is built.
And I think just to add to that, I think Richard's also asking there, or mentioning, he says he has a wide range of skills and assets that he could apply within a studio. I would be quite careful on that, Richard. I think the games industry these days has become really quite specific, so you need to be a specialist in your field and you need to be the best in your field. I think to turn up to a studio and say, I can do a lot of things and I can do them all relatively well is not as big a sell and as a stronger proposition to those potential studios as saying, this is what I do, I'm a great vehicle artist and I do them really, really well.
If I can just finish off there, Clive. So my final advice to Richard is to show a progression of thought when building his portfolio, show the early concept art, show how he's moved from the various options on his concept art into the wireframe, the 3D models, and take those 3D models through the whole of the process. So you can show a progression of his skills that are targeted to each one of the studios, and if that means that the studios Richard's looking to work for have slightly different vehicle types, then absolutely do a slightly different portfolio for each of his presentations.
Okay, one more question and I think we're going to wind up. Mike asks, how long does the course take?
The course, it's a difficult one to answer because it depends on the amount of time that people have. We try, one of the core thoughts behind our courses is the flexibility of study. We base our courses around a recommended 10 to 15 hours worth of study per week per student.
So just to stop you there, if the student studies at around 10 to 15 hours, how long would that take?
I would expect the course, the average student to complete the course 2.5 to 3 years.
And if the student studies, because again, looking at the forum, I can see students who are studying for 30 or 40 hours a week. Is it reasonable to assume they'll probably qualify in a year and a half?
About a year and a half. Because of the way the courses are laid out, as I said earlier, we have a certain amount of course material. We start working at section 2, where they have to prove and work through their portfolio work, and then they create their portfolio at the end. So yes, I would expect that to be about a year and a half to a year and 3/4 worth of work.
Okay, so just to add that, there are no set times. We don't force you into a 3-year time. We don't force you into a year and a half. You can do the course over 5 years if you really want to. The pace at which you progress through the course is entirely up to the level of commitment that you put into the course. But the average, the estimate that we've made studying at 10 to 15 hours a week is around 3 years. So I think we're going to take one more question because I think it's a good question. We've been going for a year, so T2G as a course has been running for exactly a year now. Where do you think we're going to go from here? What does the future hold for T2G? A quick last point from you, Tony, and perhaps a point from you as well, Richard.
We're looking to keep our courses dynamic and relevant and up to date. We're constantly adding to the course content within the courses that we've already released, and we're working with Richard and his team to do that. We're also working with academia and various universities to do that, as well as individual students to keep building on the course content. And we're also looking to see what other disciplines, what other courses could be brought into the Train2Game fold in order to allow other people to join the industry in other disciplines other than art, programming and
So just to sum up on that point then, so you're talking about keeping the courses nice and flexible.
Correct.
Maintaining the quality, making sure they're continually updated.
Correct.
Making sure they're affordable. Richard, any more points to add to that?
I suppose one thing which of course will be very exciting over the next 12 months will be the first people getting their TIGA diplomas and finish the course.
Yeah.
That'll be an exciting development. As Tony says, more courses will be developed. From TIGA's perspective, I hope we see more industry practitioners give some of the special lectures that we talked about earlier on. We're going to see the TIGA Examination Committee and TIGA's education advisors playing an important role in terms of the examinations. And I see greater acceptance and employment of Train2Game people taking place throughout the sector.
Excellent. Chaps, thank you very much. So I think we'll almost certainly do this again. Tony, thank you very much for your time. Tony is our course director. We have Richard Wilson here, CEO of TIGA, and myself, Clive Robert. Thanks a lot, and hope to see you again soon.
Thank you very much for joining us.